Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We just finished up exercise 11 that went through the motions of buying a new or used car or leasing one. If you have not done so already, this will be something more than likely you'll have to partake in. And of course, if you're already there with that, you're going to have to go through this motion at least a few more times, if not several, through your life. But what comes with that is the vehicle maintenance part. And oftentimes in budgets, vehicle maintenance gets overlooked. So what we're going to do in this exercise is try to account for some basic things that you need to quantify so that you do not have any burdens in your budget. So this will be a new category. So you can see right here that there's some basic things that all cars are going to need at some point or another. And the first one we talk about is oil change. Oftentimes just changing your oil can make your car last several thousand miles. So what you need to determine is how many miles you get before you need to get an oil change. So you can find that out from an owner's manual. You can find that out from the place that changes your oil. And at that point, you can take the number and that's piece one of this vehicle maintenance part of the budget. So you could say it could be every 6,000 miles, and it could be at, let's say, $50. And then some common things that usually need to be done to the car, other than just putting fluids in them, is brakes, front and rear, as well as tires. Generally speaking, they're good for 3 years. It could be a little less depending on the wear and tear of your car, especially if you're in places where there's lots of stop and go traffic. You'll wear the brake pads down even more. For tires, it would not necessarily be the same. In many cases, it does just depend on the terrain you're driving, if you hit potholes, how you actually handle your car. Are you taking turns at a good speed rather than hitting them at a narrow angle or going too fast into them. Things like that, but to narrow down exactly what the wear and tear is really tough to do. But generally speaking, we're going to go with 3 years here for both of these. Also, wipers, probably yearly is a good estimation. Again, they could go longer or shorter, and as with an air filter. I happen to live off a dirt road, so I need to change the air filter yearly or even less sometimes because a lot of gunk gets up in there and clogs that filter up. So again, this is a general guideline here. If you certainly have a handle on what your car needs already, then you can adjust that yourself. We just want to make sure here that you're accounting for it in the budget. So if this is something new to you, then what we advise is that you go and call 3 auto service centers in your area and find out the cost for the tires and the brakes. And you can simply say, I have this car and I'm looking for front and rear brakes, and when it comes to tires, they're going to ask you a couple questions what you're looking for, and they'll give you ranges of how many miles do you want the tires to last. It might say what conditions are you driving in, things like that. There's some economy tires and there's some higher end tires, so you're going to have to figure out what it is that you would like to pay for. Now again, this is something that might not happen for a while, so you can certainly make an adjustment down the road. You just need to understand that this is something that's going to be a cost. And then for wipers and air filters, you can go right online and just get some simple quotes if it's not from the auto center and just see what those cost. So as we always do, we want to make sure we understand what this will be in the budget, and you would take all these line items here and add them up, and it could be, say, 500, 300, 25, and 20, or something of that nature. So you add all that up and you divide by the number of the duration months. So for brakes and tires, it would be 800 divided by 3, and then you'd come up with your number, right? And then here it'd be, let's say, 45 divided by 1, so you can get what we're getting at here. It's pretty simplistic. And then you can take this and then you should add a new line item in the budget titled car maintenance or vehicle maintenance or whatever you want. And then what you will do is you will create this for a supplemental item. And for an example down here, we said that $300 at a 36-month interval for brakes is $833 a month. If the oil change was at $100 divided by 2, which would say twice a year in this example, then you can see that in this case you would just add these numbers up and throw them in the supplemental account. So again, you may have a handle on this, but if you don't, either way, again, we like to list things out in the squad, in our budgets, to know that these things are going to come on a regular basis. So that way, again, you're covered. You could also lump this into right out of your miscellaneous account if you want. You could take it out of your savings. Again, you have flexibility. We're just showing you options here because it provides visibility, and the more you have, the better decisions you can make. So again, be flexible with what you want. Just make sure that you're accounting for the fact that you're going to have to pay for these things. Now you're seeing a pattern here where we're talking about auto insurance, owning a car, and vehicle maintenance and gasoline. So cars are very expensive, and sometimes people don't really think about how much it really takes to be a vehicle owner. And if you have more than one in your house, it can add up. So now you're getting into autos and groceries and mortgage, rent, payments, things like that. These are the big hitters into the budget. So again, the more you have visibility on it, the better chance you're going to make sure that you manage your money in an effective and efficient manner. Okay, so that's going to do it for now. And in the next exercise, we're going to get into the cell phone bill. Okay, so thanks for joining, and we will see you there.